welcome back. This is going to be just a little bit of an 11/11 update, and so the masculines would like me to, it's been requested pretty much on the spiritual, so much of what we do here is coming from the spiritual plane. Some people are used to that, some people aren't. And I never know who's coming into the circle and listening exactly. So I try to communicate in a way that is gonna work. This is about sacred union, the divine masculine, divine feminine of the sacred union. So Dave, yeah, I don't know what to say about it, really. I'm not having trouble remembering and anything important when it comes to Dave or that time in my life when I was 14. I might not remember exactly every conversation or communication I had with people like boyfriends or whatever, but we're trying to get to the root of why and how. And there's too much synchronicity, first of all, with this Dave thing. So there was some reveals. I was attacked by a person named Dave. And there was some reveal about that. But it was kind of like a partial reveal. And it wasn't clear why this was happening. So, and I had said something last year when that came out. I had said something like, how is this Dave able to reproduce and come back into my life and stuff like that, like multiply himself? And that's one of the reasons I said it, because I dated this boy Dave. He's from my hometown. Okay, I was assaulted with a stick about like this. Maybe more like this thin, not quite this thin. I found this during those channelings too. So when I returned back to my family, my real mom, real dad, and came back to Ohio, I told everybody what had gone on in my life. I told them about the abuse. I told them about my head injury. I didn't keep anything a secret. I told them everything that I could remember and everything that seemed important. I remember doing that. I remember that being a really big deal. But nothing was ever done about it. And I didn't have, it wasn't affecting my life in any way that you could tell. In the physical, I was very healthy. I was able to work. I was, pretty much not, everyone just assumed I was okay. And I was okay. Ultimately, physically, I was okay. Even emotionally, for many years, I was just fine. But it was like there was a time release on it. But anyway, the Dave thing, I already think this video might cut off, so hopefully it doesn't. I'm dating this boy Dave. I don't know. When I meet this kid, I've already been ordered to stay away from East End. I've been ordered to, like my family just, and my mom's like kind of expressing to people that She wants me to stay with my family, you know, with my cousins, with my family, and out of Easton and away from boys and older boys and things of this like this, you know. She pretty much can't keep us away from boys though. It's they're literally crawling in our windows and hanging around our house, so that wasn't gonna happen. So Dave comes around. He's a really sweet kid, and like we really get along super good. And we end up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, and through the whole summer we're like the item couple. Everybody loves us together, and then when we break up everybody's affected by it, but my cousin steps in and he says if my cousin doesn't want to be around you, she doesn't, I don't care who it is, if my cousin doesn't want to date him or wants to break up, she gets what she wants, you know. I had a protective older cousin. So David, a lot of these people I mentioned, they didn't mess with me because of my family, but they messed with me when they could. And they were resentful for some reason, but I never understood it. I still don't understand it. His dad was already sick and in and out of the hospital. And he projected so much on me that I didn't understand what he was talking about half the time. He was very emotional. And it was just very toxic energy for me. It was too overwhelming. It was one of those things like when we get together, something else is happening besides just that we're together. And we were young, so I think that has to do with something in our ancestry or something on the godly spiritual plane that we just didn't understand. And certainly our parents didn't understand. They were too busy partying every Friday and Saturday night and getting drunk and doing drugs, and who knows what they were doing. It was party town. So all things considered, we were good kids. We tried to stay sober and out of trouble and stuff like that. We tried to be there for each other, promising to stay friends and stuff like that. Now, aside from that, I don't know. There wasn't any big love affair. There wasn't any, he wasn't a lover. He wasn't anybody that I, had any kids with him or anything. Okay, so we have pain and we have peace. I think it is really somebody that was coming for healing, that knew, that there was a path for healing. And I think that happens a lot with me. And I think right now at this time, these are people that are coming up for healing on the spiritual plane, but in the physical, it's just looking weird and different. So this would be people like my mom and her generation, and people my age and my generation from the southeast area. Look at that. We had to deal with a lot of this. We try to talk about it, but we get silenced. It's like we're not allowed to have a voice about racism unless we are real natives, quote unquote, or black people. If our skin is white or we're perceived a certain way, it's like we're not allowed to have a voice. And this comes from so many different people, and it also does come from government, it comes from religion, it comes from individual groups, it comes from tribes, and it is so stifling. And people say they're awakened and spiritual and everything, but really they're not. David did not want me to live. David might have been involved in some sort of racism. I don't know what he was involved in. I didn't get that close to him. I have no idea, really. It's a mystery to me. But I do know that I lived in a black neighborhood. It was considered a black neighborhood. There were a lot of different neighborhoods where I was from. And David did not like that. He worried himself sick about me sometimes. He was worried about his mom all the time. His dad passed away, and he just he just seemed like a very like an emotional basket case. I've had to deal with a lot of masculines since then that are emotional basket cases. Thank you, Peter. And until Michael sent me helpers, I had to deal with that a lot. Almost every masculine that I deal with, it's like they project so much on me that they don't realize it's happening, but it's overwhelming. Somebody's been very diligent in researching the sacred feminine, and we know probably who that is, which is the sacred masculine. Because this must have affected him. Even though there was separation, this is twin flame union, these things affected him. So I got very sick around that time, and I got, I had a extremely high fever. This happened to me several times in my life, like mystery illnesses and weird things like that, and brushes with death, and, burns on my skin, and just all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, I've already given testimony. I don't want to give too much life and testimony where I've already given testimony. But there's still something about this Dave person, and I really don't know. I just know that I think he did tell people that I went to bed with him. I did not go to bed with this person. So it's just that simple. I did not. I absolutely did not. And maybe in his mind I did. I don't know. But I'm telling you, that did not happen. And it seems like there's some masculines that's how they were affected when they were in, they either believe they were with me, or they just have very active imagination or mental problems. I'm just being as straightforward and honest as I can. That's all. I wouldn't never lie about these things. I would never be in the position I am with the blessings I am. And for those of you that understand that, this is a repeat number we were getting yesterday. This is favor. I would never have this level of favor if I was somebody who was doing things like that. So I think my masculine understands that by now. But these may be people that, really they have such problems that they just lie like it's a disease, and they believe their own lies. And they can't keep track of their own lies. And these could be lies that were it just was so toxic and detrimental to the sacred feminine that there has to be some level of acknowledgement and healing to it. So something entered around age 14. Something entered around age 8 or 9, and then something took a hold around age 14 that has just latched itself on. It's a masculine energy, a toxic masculine energy that tries to latch itself onto the feminine. This is what God has told me that he's going to free her from. And declared again yesterday that we'll be free from this, whatever this is. Now, this could just be, when there's been a lot of pain and degradation over the years, these things can take form. This is something I myself even taught other people about and talked about in spiritual groups. So they can take on form, and then once they take on form and they have that level of power on the spiritual plane, can manifest in some crazy ways. Some really crazy, weird ways. This is kind of like what we're dealing with here. I don't know. when I was in my 20s, and this person, there's racism again, there's desire, assignment, prejudice, desire, and assignment. These people are very deceptive that I'm speaking on. When I say deceptive, it's just like you would just be like, what the hell, if you knew, like, what? That's how I am. I'm like, what the hell? Dave came to my house when I was in my 20s and my sons were little, and he asked me to come to his house, asked if I wanted to just hang out, watch a movie, and chill, and pointed out all the things we had in common at the time, which he had 3 sons and I had 3 sons. And we just thought that was funny that we both grew up and we both had 3 sons. And he said, I got baby mama problems, you got baby daddy problems. And then all the guys in the neighborhood would always laugh about my life. I didn't like that very much. My friend Ricky, who's passed away now, these people, but then to my face, and they would always just express, I love you, I love you, I love you. They would love bomb me. Then they would talk about me behind my back. And they would talk about my life and my baby daddy and my mama drama and my sister. And it was like everybody liked to focus on us like that. And there was a prejudice. And I'm not talking about we were different races. We were the same race. But we lived in a place where there was a lot of racism. But I think when we're getting this card today, I think it's just about prejudice. People have a lot of strange beliefs based on their conditions and their systems and their religions and their family traditions and stuff like that aren't necessarily sound for the sacred feminine or for humanity or for evolvement or even to God, So so I feel like the Lord is saying to get past your prejudice and your personal desires and handle your assignments. Understand the assignment, realize there's an assignment, and realize that we are assigned to each other sometimes for a reason. So Dave might have just been one of those people, since I had a sacred union happening and I'd already met my twin flame masculine. He might have been one of these people that was contracted on the spiritual plane as a part of our union as sort of a guardian, but we were just young. I'm 13 and 14 years old. How do you think we're gonna act, but he was very protective over me when I was around him, and he didn't want other guys around me. He didn't want my mom mistreating me. A lot of these guys didn't want my mom near me. They didn't want me around my mom and sister. They didn't want me around anybody that would hurt me or even look at me funny. They would get very, very upset. Very upset. And then they also, at the same time, couldn't be around me because of my family and and my family was a little hyper focused on me, but also a little hyper protective. It was very, very crazy. But it was because of what happened to me, so these are the reasons that I isolated myself the way I did and settled down young and stayed to myself, and it was both good and bad. So, okay. Somebody has experienced a great deal of discouragement and has been rattled by something recently, by these recent changes. it just might be hard for my twin flame who's having his awakening now, and the sacred masculines who are awakening, to understand how many people were assigned to the feminine and why. But it will help if you participate in the healing circle and stuff like that, and commune and do the things that I'm telling you that you should do. Like saying the Lord's Prayer, and somebody might even be affected by wealth. It's very difficult right now to understand why I still have to talk about Dave, but I don't think it's just about Dave. I also got the sense that some of these people were trying to get into the healing circle and get into their awakening and come to God, maybe even. So they have to be dealt with like assignments, like mission work, mission getting them to God, purity, I don't know, self-confidence. Here we go again. So that's the update. That's all I have right now. Just giving you a little update on the energies. I got up, I did meditation. I'm going to do some more prayer, stuff like that. See how things develop. I've been posting a lot in the community section, so you should check that out if you haven't checked it out, because that might give you an idea of what I'm receiving and what's happening in general. We just got 2 big CMEs. Looked to me like they were at the 7 to 11. 7 to 11 mark. So these are 7-11. These are higher dimensional, heavenly energies being sent to be anchored in. Yeah, okay. So that I'm a little overwhelmed right now. The only thing I can do is just go ground myself. So that's what I'm going to go do. Hopefully we can just transmute this stuff and realize that there's not much to it, except for it's mostly just about the names and events, and there's just too much going on right now. I'm trying to stay focused on things that just pertain to me and my masculine and my immediate healing circle and stuff like that. You know, keeping it in my lane, so to speak, and waiting for that clarity to come through, and working on grounding and trying to integrate and transmute any attacks or perceived attacks, protecting the healing circle, protecting myself, that kind of thing. It's just like one of those times where we're also gathering, and the gatherings can get really intricate, and it's like, don't even sneeze, don't even mention too much lower level stuff or too much duality or anything like that. Okay, because it can be perceived, and I give out plenty of warning to people that the sacred masculine and feminine are awakened, fully awakened. That means that energy is fully active, and you will be held accountable for the energy you bring, the things you say. It's just not a good time to like be offensive in any way or bring too much indoctrination or belief systems, like I said, duality or programming, falsity in any way. into the conversation, into the healing circle, it's not a good time to do that. It's a good time to be very positive and take your journey seriously and be very grounded. There's a time and place for everything. And at this time, it's like it's a little bit of a sensitive time. The sacred feminine is also still experiencing, and the masculine maybe too, on the spiritual plane, surgeries on the crown and solar plexus chakras, and some are experiencing root chakra work, and there's just a lot of root work in general going on. So that's really why. And I think I'm even having like some more spiritual surgery that's happening, because we don't always know, because it's like once you get into a certain level of healing, it's just like a surgeon goes in and sometimes he's working on one thing and another thing comes up. So it's kind of like that for the sacred feminine and masculine. It's like, well, we were working on this, but then this came up. We were doing solar plexus surgery, and we already did do a surgery, but now we've cracked open a little bit of what just got healed. In some cases, it's like that. Oh man. This is kind of hard to explain, but yeah, basically that. Some people know exactly what I mean and maybe already know that. I don't know. But yeah, okay. That's all I have right now. It's just an update. Love you. Bye.